Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Audra Charles, Zulika Silver, is all in with Victor Newman's Eric Braeden, planned to prove what a terrible boyfriend Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, is. She aims to make him look bad by seducing him, but not crossing a line. After all, she does want Victor to pay up by funding a company for her. However, she doesn't want to lose her own boyfriend, Nate Hastings, seen Dominic, in the process. Still, will she be successful? Will she ensure Kyle and Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, break up? Kyle will likely be stupid enough to fall for whatever Audra pulls. Kyle is hanging by a thread at this point. While the super couple is very happy, there are just too many people gunning for their romance to end. From Victor to Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, and Holden Novak, Nathan Owens. Well, many Holden isn't gunning for Kyle, but he's certainly interested in Claire. So if he became a shoulder to cry on for his new friend in the aftermath of her breakup, he'd be more than happy to do so. Claire and Kyle are cute together, but don't feel like a super couple that will last the long haul. With summer looming around the corner, many Young and the Restless fans would love to see a Skyle reunion. Holden and Claire have had some interesting chemistry, so perhaps it's time for the new Newman to move on from Kyle and dive into another romance. The best way to secure this would be if Audra accomplished her plan for Victor. With that said, while Victor would be ecstatic that Kyle was a thing of the past, would he be happy with his granddaughter's newest suitor? Would you like to see Claire and Kyle break up? How about a romance between Holden and Claire? Join the conversation in the comments section below. Catch CBS Soap Daily to see what happens next and visit this site often for the best Young and the Restless updates, news, and spoilers. In Geno City, where love and betrayal dance an endless waltz, secrets are currency, and Audra Charles knows how to spend hers. Audra wasn't the type to linger in the background. She played the game like a master violinist, calculated, fierce, and always one note ahead. So when she noticed Kyle Abbott, the ever-brooding heartthrob with more baggage than a private jet, glancing longingly in Claire Grace's direction, she recognized opportunity dressed as danger, and Audra loved danger. Kyle was vulnerable, recently estranged from Summer, torn between legacy and love, and now watching Claire, a woman with a mysterious past and a surprisingly gentle presence, grow closer to someone else. That someone was Holden Masters, a newcomer with charisma to rival any Abbott, and a bond with Claire that blossomed almost overnight. It started small. Holden had saved Claire from a PR disaster at Newman Enterprises. One moment, they were arguing over a missed interview. The next, they were sipping wine at Society, laughing like they'd known each other in another life. It was the kind of chemistry you couldn't fake, and Kyle noticed. One afternoon, as Audra strolled into the Grand Phoenix lobby, she caught Kyle leaning over the bar, swirling bourbon, lost in thought. She approached with the kind of confidence that turned heads and shattered resolve. Looking for answers in a glass, or just wishing it was 2019 again. She teased, sliding onto the stool beside him. "She's taken," Audra replied, tossing her hair over one shoulder. "And you, Kyle, are looking more like a man who needs a distraction." "Why not?" she said, voice low and velvet smooth. "You want to forget her. I want to be remembered. Let's help each other." Claire heard the whispers before she saw the headlines. Paparazzi shots of Kyle and Audra leaving her building, seconds apart. A sly caption. Genoa's next power couple. Her phone pinged with a message from Holden. "You okay?" She wasn't sure. She had told herself she and Kyle were just friends. That his brooding glances and thoughtful texts meant nothing. But it hurt. It hurt in a way that made her feel like she had just lost something she never truly had. "You don't have to talk about it," he said, bringing croissants and a knowing smile. She leaned against him without speaking. And in that silence, something changed. Holden didn't need her to explain her heart. He just held it like it was fragile glass, and she let him. Meanwhile, Audra and Kyle became Geno City's most talked-about duo. But behind the closed doors of corporate meetings and charity galas, their chemistry sputtered like a faulty spark plug. Kyle smiled for the cameras, but when the lights dimmed, he stared too long at the floor. Audra noticed. "You're not over her," she said one night, sitting across from him in a quiet corner booth at Society. Audra took a long sip of her wine and leaned back. "Maybe I was just helping myself. But look what's come of it. Claire's no longer in limbo. She's choosing Holden. And maybe, Audra continued, you needed that. To know it was real. That she chose someone else. And it wasn't because you didn't try. It was because it wasn't meant to be. It was a rare moment of honesty for Audra, who usually preferred manipulation to truth. But somewhere in the game, she had started to care. Not for Kyle, not exactly, but for the version of herself that didn't need to chase unavailable hearts to feel powerful. Meanwhile, Claire and Holden were becoming inseparable. Their relationship unfolded like a vintage love song, unhurried, poetic, and deeply felt. He encouraged her to believe in second chances, and she brought out the dreamer in him. Together, they weren't explosive like some Genoa City couples, but they were steady, grounded, and refreshingly real. One rainy afternoon, Claire found herself walking by Chancellor Park with Holden. The air smelled like petrichor and possibilities. Across town, Kyle stood by the window of his office, watching the rain streak across the glass. He thought of Claire's laugh, the way she had looked at Holden like he was her lighthouse. He felt the ache of loss, but also the strange warmth of closure. Audra walked in without knocking, as always. She held a file, but her eyes searched his. She is, Audra agreed, and maybe it's time you let yourself be too. He looked at her, really looked. For the first time, he didn't see the woman who had made a move despite fate. He saw someone else trying to heal, just like him. Audra raised a brow. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, she teased. But she took his hand anyway. In Genoa City, alliances are ever shifting and hearts heal at their own pace. But sometimes, it takes a false spark to ignite a real flame. Audra's move on Kyle may have started as a diversion, but in the end, it cleared the path for Holden and Claire's romance to flourish and perhaps allowed everyone to start writing their next chapter.